welcome everyone. It's just wonderful to see all of your faces here today. I want to welcome our distinguished guests, faculty, our staff, and especially our new students. It's the start of a very big adventure for you. We're here today to continue a valued tradition at Western that began years ago. The university has many traditions that have evolved over its 40-year history. However, this particular ceremony is significant in that it truly symbolizes our institutional and educational philosophy of educating skilled and compassionate healthcare professionals who are excellent in science and compassionate in caregiving. You have my highest regard, and I wish you much success. This white coat ceremony could not be possible without our gracious donor, Dr. Farid Didari, graduate from the College of Podiatric Medicine inaugural class of 2013. I would like to take a moment to thank him for his generous donation of the lab coats that you're receiving today. Thank you, Dr. Didari. It is indeed a pleasure to introduce our speakers and faculty. Please rise momentarily as I introduce you. Dr. James M. Lally, DO, Board of Trustees member for Western University. Dr. Diane Branks, CPMA guest speaker and president of the California Podiatric Medical Association and a podiatrist with Kaiser Permanente. Dr. Don Green, our keynote speaker, a renowned professional. Dr. Jonathan Leibowitz, Associate Dean, Clinical Education and Graduate Placement. And Dr. Axon Nuvong, Assistant Professor of Podiatric Medicine, Surgery, and Biomechanics, and Residency Director at UCLA. I want to introduce our faculty who are with us today, starting with Dr. Joseph Park. Thank you, Dr. Park. Dr. Jared Shapiro. Dr. Rebecca Molmer. Dr. Lester Jones, the previous dean of this college. It's a real joy to have him back today. And our dignitary guests, I would like to introduce, first of all, Dr. David Barron, Provost of the university. And Dr. Michael Cornelison. Dr. Cornelison is the incoming president-elect of the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons. And now we're privileged to have a very talented member of our Western community, Miss Alika Salimi, who is going to sing the national anthem for us. She is WesternU's Executive Student Government Association's club coordinator and a rising second-year DO student. Salika? Alika?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst
incredible. You know, my family often jokes with me that I became a podiatrist because I had to know the anatomy of the foot really well, because I often had my foot in my mouth and I had to figure out how to get it out. And this is a good lesson for me today too, to share with you. Never be afraid to say if you do something wrong. And I'm the first one. I did something terribly wrong this morning. I left out the majority of our faculty. I went right through that first row, and you all must have thought, well, I thought I was going to a real school here. I only have like 4 or 5 faculty members. What's wrong with this? So my apologies. Let me continue with Dr. Steve Wan. Thank you, Dr. Wan. And Dr. Jackie Trong, Assistant Dean also. Dr. Kevin Liu. And Dr. Kelly Park. It is so nice to have the rest of you here. Please forgive my faux pas. Let's see. Now I also want to introduce Father Chris, who is a pastor with Holy Name of Mary in San Dimas, as he leads our invocation. Thank you, Father Chris.
For those in the Christian tradition, in John's Gospel in the 13th chapter, we hear Jesus, knowing that the Father had given him all things and that he had come forth from God and was going back to God, he got up from supper, laid aside his garment. Taking a towel, he girded himself, and he poured water into a basin and began washing his disciples' feet and wiped them with a towel. Jesus did this as his ultimate sign of service to all of humanity. And so we pray. God of our ancestors, we thank you for guiding each of us to be here this day. The intelligence you allowed each of us to have, and each of these students to have, for enrolling in this institution is based on your guidance of their lives and the legacy of their ancestors who made many sacrifices to have the opportunities these students embark upon. Eternal God, help them to appreciate your presence in their lives and to have their intelligence used very well. Help them to have clear minds and hearts to study the material presented to them for these next 4 years. Help them to become professionals in this specialized field, that if my family needed services from any of them, I'd feel comfortable sending them to any of them for medical care. Remind them of the special responsibilities they will each have, not only to care for people's feet, but also their whole selves as God's children. Help them each to study diligently, achieve to their highest abilities, and grow in compassion toward themselves and each other as they strive to grow in wisdom and knowledge. As Jesus, our brother, knew the importance of people's feet, he bade them and honored his disciples' feet to show them how they were to serve. May each of these students be prepared to lovingly serve people who will one day need their care. In God's holy name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to call Dr. James Lawley to the podium.
Good morning. I've been provided with an adult-ready speech here. Distinguished guests, faculty, staff are new. On behalf of the university as a board member, I welcome you. But you're going to get a more detailed history of the white coat ceremony. But just as an overview, it started in '91 in Columbia University. Schools all across the nation have adopted it, and it's kind of our welcome to you into the profession that you've chosen. It's a very, very honorable process that you're going through, and it's something you should hold on to and remember. I just returned from the Olympics. Y'all are Olympians, if you think about it. You're on this quest of a 4-year process that you're going to end up at the end of 4 years getting something better than a gold medal, actually. It's going to be a livelihood and a profession that you'll hold and cherish, that it's going to change your lifestyle. When you get to that point, remember those that were ahead of you and those that come behind you. You know, always buy a student a lunch, because sooner or later that student will buy another student a lunch and it'll move forward. By having a ceremony where we're providing you with these coats, We're cloaking you, much as in the medieval ages when they used to knight people. So you're gonna have this cloak and you're gonna wear it. I would ask you to wash them from time to time. I would ask you to consider pressing them from time to time because they do get wrinkled in the back of your car. But just remember, it's a reflection of you. It carries your school, it carries your name, and it should carry you. And on a lot of nights you're gonna have, well, now it's different. You put everything on your iPhone, but there was a time, as some of your professors will tell you, that they even sewed extra pockets into their white coats to hold that extra bundle of paper or that extra book that they needed on rounds. So I'm here to welcome you into a very, very, very good profession. I feel very strongly about your profession, and that can be attested to that we started one of your programs many years ago that's been very successful. So you're entering at a very exciting time. It's certainly an unusual time. The goal is to have you intermingle with the DO students and with the other students of the other colleges so that you come out as kind of an intertwined profession, that you're connected, that you understand why we as physicians don't always understand the value that you can provide for us. And it's a learning process for both groups. You're going to graduate from this school with a better understanding. You're going to have debt. Sorry, that's the way it works. The debt will be mitigated by your hard work and your ability to see patients and to take care of them. Ideally, we'd like you to be known not only as a smart podiatrist, I'd like you to be known as a caring and compassionate provider of care and of your field. This coat's going to carry the responsibility to be excellent in science. We want you to be compassionate in care, and the knowledge that you have is the knowledge that you give. In closing, you've all made a great selection. I think this is a good school. I think it's a great university. I think your particular college is exceptional. You have faculty that are very committed to your success, and that success is only determined by your work and your hard effort. The desire to leave early should always be mitigated by the wanting to learn, because the later you stay on a rotation, the more you learn, just because people think you're interested, so they're willing to share with you. Learn as much as you can. Welcome to Western University, and if there's anything I can ever do to help you, Dr. Shapiro can find me. So, thanks very much.
Those are wise words. Thank you, Dr. Lally. And next, I'd like to call Dr. Branks to the podium. Thank you, Dr. Branks.
All right. So, dear class of 2025, parents, faculty, guests, I want to thank you very much for inviting me today and allowing to be part of your celebration. This is an exciting day for you and your families as you receive your white coat. I recall the day that I started medical school and received my white coat. The white coat symbolized to me the official beginning of a dream and a bright future of being a doctor of podiatric medicine. Podiatric medicine and surgery is truly a wonderful specialty, and I congratulate you for choosing it. The next few years will be some of the best and hardest times of your life, and hopefully you'll look back on it with really fond memories. The journey for me has been super exciting. I joined private practice after I finished my residency, and then I landed my dream job with Kaiser Permanente. As I look back, I have had 3 phases in my practice career that I want to share with you, as you may not realize that we do many things as podiatric physicians. The first phase was practicing general podiatric medicine and surgery. During this time, I received 2 board certifications, one in podiatric surgery and the other in podiatric medicine. I also became the chief of the podiatric department as the first female chief. This I did while having 3 children. I worked full-time and I took call. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you can do it and still have a family. The second phase is when I transferred to another location to be closer to my home so my children could go to school. I was blessed with being offered by the orthopedic chief at that location to become a vascular podiatrist working on gangrene and high-risk cases in a brand new vascular surgery department. This was of particular interest to me as my favorite rotation when I was a resident was vascular surgery. What I enjoyed the most was the tremendous satisfaction of helping patients who were deathly ill. And it was a tremendous honor to be able to interact with so many specialists to coordinate care and save lives. It is also something I am most proud of, as that program is now considered the model of limb preservation. The third phase is the phase I'm in now. I am a clinical podiatrist. I treat all kinds of aches and pains, fractures, biomechanical issues. The role means that I am no longer on call, but the good part is that it means that I'm able to fulfill my other dream, and that is of being your president of the California Podiatric Medical Association. In this job, I help my fellow physicians and students like you. The reason I bring this all up is to illustrate that you are entering a specialty of medicine with many avenues of practice and assisting not only your patients, but each other. My friends and colleagues work in every field, from private practice to servicing underserved communities. Some are teachers, some are researchers, some work for public health, some work in the military and the VA, and some are also in other HMOs such as Sutter, Scripps, Palo Alto Medical Group, etc. You too will experience many phases of your career, and no matter where your path leads, you will always be learning, seeing advancements, experiencing changes, and being part of the evolution in medicine. My wish for you today is to be part of that change and the light of our future. With that, I also want to instill with you the importance of being an active member of the California Podiatric Medical Association and all your other professional organizations, like many of the doctors that are here today. You may not know it, but two of your professors, Drs. Juan and Mulmer, are both past CPMA presidents. As Dr. Satterfield mentioned, Dr. Cornelison is here today as a parent, but is also a past CPMA president and soon to become the president of the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgery. California is very well known nationally for developing leaders in the field. In fact, this year's American Podiatric Medical Association president is Dr. Jeff DeSantis, and he hails from right here in Southern California. So for me personally, it was during medical school that I first learned about the California Podiatric Medical Association and its importance. The organization is the one that helps us become leaders in medicine and set policies to help our patients and each other in California. It was founded in 1912 and has served us by promoting the science and art of podiatric medicine, protecting public health, and elevating the standards of medical education. We are headquartered in Sacramento to be close to legislators and other medical organizations so we can work on mutual issues in the ever-changing healthcare environment. We support strong regulatory procedures and have high ethical standards. The CPMA pledges to continue to work for you, and it is your organization. We have various committees that help you throughout your career, from being a student, a resident, a fellow, and finally a young practitioner. In fact, as president, I've actually had students join my committees because I want you to be able to know what we do and how we proceed. While you're in practice, we also help our members with health policy, understanding Medicare, Medi-Cal, advocating for legislation, and promoting humanitarian work. We have regional societies throughout California that can help and mentor you. As well, we have the annual Foot and Ankle Conference at Disneyland, and it is considered one of the largest medical conferences for podiatric physicians on the West Coast. When we are there, we are truly one of the happiest places on earth. So with that, as CPMA president, I want to congratulate you and officially welcome you, the class of 2025, to our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Appreciate that. I can't help but think that just looking out at this audience, we're probably looking at some future CPMA leaders, and we challenge you to become those. Our guest speaker, Dr. Don Green, let me just say this. Right now, you may not realize it, but he is biomechanics royalty. And you will learn a phrase in your education called planal dominance. And it's a key to everything we do. So it is truly an honor to be able to welcome Dr. Don Green as our guest speaker.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I certainly appreciate it, and welcome class of 2025, family, friends, and faculty. I think that Dr. Satterfield did us all a big favor today. I'm not sure whether she did it on purpose or not, but she indicated that she made a mistake. The younger you make a mistake, the better you're going to be, because you'll learn from mistakes. So if you're a student, be aggressive in learning. Ask the questions. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Because if you make it early, then as you get to be an applicant for a residency program, you've already made that mistake, and so you know it. If you make a mistake as a resident, first year, it's pretty bad. You want to make a mistake as a student. But it's not as bad as if you're a second-year resident, or a third-year resident, or a faculty person. So it's a great lesson to have is don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how you're going to learn. Ask the questions. Be aggressive in your learning. You made a career choice in podiatric medicine. It's a great choice with many variable choices, as you've heard. Before you know it, you'll be entering your clinical phase in training. Remember, you're in a profession of helping people medically. Don't ever forget it's a service profession. Keep in mind, it's what the patient needs and wants that's important. I'm Don Green. I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. And at that time, there was a school in Philadelphia and a school in San Francisco. I went to the California College of Podiatric Medicine in San Francisco, which is now known as the California School of Podiatric Medicine at Samuel Merritt. My dad was a podiatrist in Binghamton, New York. So it was back East Coast, West Coast, and I wanted to learn about the West Coast. It was nice to be in a school, in a city, where if you had some time, you can kind of see a nice view of the city and a lot of things to do. My older brother had just graduated from the California College of Podiatric Medicine when I arrived. We had different personalities. Some people were very disappointed when I came. Other people were ecstatic. So they're different personalities, but it's great. I just come from a podiatry family. We went to San Francisco because Merton Root, John Weed, Tom Scarlato were teaching the current concepts of biomechanics. I don't know how well you know those names, but I think you'll end up knowing them when you get finished. It's the study of the normal and abnormal function of the lower extremity. Secondarily, the college also had a small hospital associated with the school, so there was surgery going on. So for those two reasons, those three reasons, San Francisco being one of them, it was a nice place for me to go. I started my first year residency in New York City with Marvin Steinberg, and then spent an additional 2 years in Tucker, Georgia. The first place was in Upper Manhattan, and it was called Jewish Memorial Hospital. It was a Jewish community originally, but had degenerated to a gun and knife club. I didn't make any money that year. They didn't guarantee me anything, but I didn't have to pay tuition, so it was still pretty good. This was back in when this was back in the 70s or the 60s. And it was a nice place to learn because you got a lot of experience. It wasn't a nice place to run around outside at night, because it was a little bit dangerous. I then went 2 years with in Tucker, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, under E. Dalton McGlamory, DPM. Perhaps you've seen this 3-volume surgical book. I don't know whether you have seen that yet, but you certainly know that as well. I then went to the Pennsylvania College of Podiatric Medicine as a teacher, and eventually for 8 years, and eventually became chairman of the surgery department. I spent the rest of my career in private practice with my brother in San Diego, and as residency director of the San Diego residency program. It started as a small hospital called Hillside Hospital, and a DO hospital. And then in 1990, it moved to Mercy Hospital, which has become Scripps Mercy Hospital, which is level 1 trauma center. So you can see, over the years, we've grown as a profession, and you benefit from the educational opportunities that you'll be provided with. Podiatry is a great choice. It's rewarding. Patients come to your office, oftentimes they walk out with no pain, or at least with less pain. Instant gratification. That's kind of nice. A lot of the medical specialists, the patients may leave with a prescription. It may take days or weeks to get that gratification. But it's nice because patients come in, tell you all about themselves, tell you about their problems. So you get to know a variety of people, and then they pay you for your service to help them get better. It's great. As you heard, there's a variety of successful practices. Some people want to specialize in traumatology, rear foot surgery, the big surgeries. With that comes a little bit of anxiety. You may have to get up in the middle of the night to go in and see patients. Some people do not want to have that kind of a life, and you have that opportunity too. There are non-surgical podiatry practices. Even in the Kaiser system or some of the big systems, they have that available to you as well. You may want to have a mixed practice where you do forefoot surgery and then do general podiatry. That's a choice that you'll have as well. You can do wound care, infections, amputations, that kind of practice. So there's a lot of places that you can go, and you'll determine over the next several years where you want to end up. You can also have orthotic care as a specialty, where you just do orthotics to help people walk better. There are some specialties like Podiatrics, which is kids, pododermatology, where it's just the skin problems, whether it's oncologic or just the regular problems, or potoradiology, where you can do general radiology as well as the mechanics of the foot, the angles, etc. Those areas are probably more related to subspecialists that are teachers or in certain colleges or at certain residency programs. Sometimes the most rewarding patients are palliative patients. This is meaning cutting corns and calluses, doing the routine kind of things in podiatry. You don't want to say it's routine because they won't pay for it, but it is kind of our routine. And it's very rewarding because it's relaxing. You know what you're going to do. You'll see patients continually over and over and help them immediately. It's relaxing, so you have time to cool down from some of the more pressing or complicated cases. You can work for a large organization such as Kaiser as a hired podiatrist. You get better pay, you get benefits early, but you don't have the staff working for you. They work for the organization, so you don't have as much control. You don't have as much control of your schedule. So you can go into private practice where you have more control of the assistants and your schedule, but you get increased administrative responsibility because now you have to run those. But if you're growing up and your kids are going to be in the afternoon going to play sports and you want to close down your office for a couple hours so you can go to those, you have that capability. You give up a little money, financial reward, because you don't see as many patients, but you have that option. So you can see there's a variety of things that you can do and still live a good life. You can even work part-time. You can join someone else and work part-time, and raise your kids or do research, teach, or a lifestyle change. You won't make quite as much money, but money isn't everything. Whatever you decide, you can make a good living while you're helping patients. Whatever you decide to, you have to be a good listener. So this is one of the recommendations. Listen to your patients. Number one, it'll be informative, but it'll also be fun, because they'll tell you about their personal lives or where they come from, or you make contracts with someone who sells cars and you may get a special deal, or all kinds of different careers that they have, and you'll get to know a lot of them. So take the time to listen. Some medical specialists see patients for a very short period of time. You will see kids, families, and watch them grow because you'll have some chronic patients coming in, which can be fun. Recommendation number 2, listen, but also make it personal. Even if you can put a personal note in a patient's chart. They have a dog named Chip, or they have a daughter who works at Disneyland, or they like bridge, or whatever it is, to make it personal. Because you're a service organization, so you need to make it personal. So that's number 2. But listen to the patient's complaints. Oftentimes, when a patient comes in, you can make a diagnosis simply by listening closely to what their problems are. So listen, make it personal. They're not just a number. They're not just a chronic fasciitis or a problem. Since we are a service profession, personality makes a difference. Be interested in the patient, not just the problem. My brother's more outgoing than I am. I'm a little bit more reserved. But we both listen and are concerned for our patients. We both spend the same amount of time with a patient, but they feel he spent a lot more time with them than I did because he's entertaining besides being good. Well, emphasize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses, but be personal. There's a trend in medicine and podiatry to limit time with a patient. If you are organized and have good medical assistants, this can work well. They can get the initial information and set it up so that you can spend quality time. You still need to listen and spend quality time with them when you're with them. Build time slots in your schedule for catch-up time for the tough cases. Some cases are going to take longer than others. So plan your process. Make sure that you have time to catch up. Running constantly behind is not good for you or the patients, and they will complain. Don't have the patients feel like they're shortchanged. Remember, the patient wants and needs, that's the key. You're entering a career where you are learning to care for people. It's no longer just about getting good grades, although you still want to get good grades because you're going to be applying for residency programs. That may get you in the door, but what's going to keep you is going to be the knowledge that you acquired in treating patients and how you handle it. Those questions are going to be much more important. 70 to 80% of the problems you'll see are related to abnormal pathomechanics. Hammer toes, retracted toes, painful bunions, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, rear foot and ankle deformities, trauma, tendon transfers, depending on what level you want to perform. They all require a knowledge of the abnormal and normal functioning of the foot. Rely on your knowledge of the normal and abnormal foot in the lower extremity. This knowledge is not necessarily just for good orthotics or good control. It's important in surgery, general podiatry, neuropathic care, etc. 70, 80%. So learn the abnormal and normal function of the foot starting from day 1. Learn to do palliation care from day 1. Even if you're not going to do it later on, it's something that will give patients relief, and it may see patients in chronic conditions. You are in a great profession with a variety of emphasis available. It's important what the patient wants and needs. Don't ever forget that. Listen to your patients. They can tell you a lot, and it can be fun sometimes. You can make contacts within the community. Care for your patients, make it personal. They're not just a symptom or a number. Be a lifetime learner. You're going to need to follow up because at this point in time, you have a certain level, you'll have a certain level of education, probably at the top of your level, but it will change. So you will be a lifetime learner. Clinical knowledge to help people is more important than grades. I'm not saying grades aren't important, but the knowledge is much more important. And finally, give back to the great profession that you inherited. Many have given in the past, so you can have the current educational opportunities you enjoy. Pay it forward. I know you can't see where podiatry has come over the last 60 years, but I can. And it's not a bad thing because you're starting from a very high level, but you'll see it progress over the future. So make sure you give back and appreciate what you've got from those that have come before you. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Some very sage wisdom there. Next, I would like to call Dr. Legwitz to the podium.
Thank you. So in the world of medicine, the white coat ceremony is in its infancy. The practice of medicine dates back over 7,000 years. The widely known work of Hippocrates, often referred to as the father of medicine, is nearly 2,500 years old. Meanwhile, a rite of passage as you enter the healthcare professions did not exist until 1993, when the Gold Foundation held the first white coat ceremony at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Dr. Arnold Gold, a professor of clinical neurology and pediatrics, felt that technological advances in healthcare were eroding the connections formed with patients. He thought that was critical to patient care. So instead of waiting to pledge your commitment to your patients and their families when you take the Hippocratic Oath at graduation, Dr. Gold and his wife created the white coat ceremony to emphasize humanism as the central tenet of healthcare. The ceremony stresses the compassion that must be combined with the scientific knowledge and advancements, and it serves as the rite of passage welcoming you to healthcare. According to the Gold Foundation, the most important aspect of the ritual is the oath you take before your family, friends, faculty, and university administration, recognizing your obligation and expressing your commitment to care for your patients. The white coat ceremony has had a profound impact on healthcare. Just a few years after the first ceremony, most U.S. medical schools adopted the practice. Now, only 28 years after the first ceremony, it spans 99% of all accredited U.S. medical schools. It's also held in medical schools in 19 other countries. The ceremony is held in more than 360 nursing schools, podiatric medical schools, physician assistant schools, and many other healthcare professions. While the reach of the ceremony is astounding in just a short period of time, the personal impact of this rite is also inspiring. Consistent with the original ceremony rituals, today you're presented with a white coat, which represents much more than a way to keep your clothes clean. And I agree, Dr. Leonard, please wash the coat. Similar to the weight of the oath, the white coat carries a humbling responsibility and ethical responsibilities that come with patients and their loved ones who rely on you. Now take a moment and think about those who helped you get to this point. As you learn about the body and mind and about treating patients, never forget the lessons you've already learned. The lessons about being kind and caring, about having compassion, and about respect. Wear your coat with pride. You've earned it. But wear it knowing its symbolism, and with the understanding that when you take the oath today, at the beginning of your journey, it's not so you can provide care to patients, it's so you can care for patients. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you and welcome to the class of 2025.
I want to thank all of our speakers. Such wise words. We appreciate them. The students will come to appreciate them with time as they are introduced to the educational process that begins next week. Will the students come forward to introduce themselves and receive their white coat?
Daniel Adut, Irvine, California. Marcus Alegria, Fort Worth, Texas. Vegas, Nevada.
Shanghai, China.
Murrieta, California.
Natalie Cornelison, Los Gatos, California.
Randolph Cruz, West Covina, California.
Tiffany Duarte, Glendale, California.
Robert Erickson, Bozeman, Montana.
Negin Esmailzadeh, Los Angeles, California.
Clara Glagola, Yorktown, Virginia. Keenan Goldsberry, Hiram, Utah.
Mark Gonzalez, Walnut, California.
Katrina Hagverdian, Glendale, California.
Akib Hassan, Chicago, Illinois.
Jason Alulian, Long Island, New York.
Jimenez and Monte, California.
Bali, Chinos, California.
Sean Lee, Orange, California.
Joshua Liddick, West Covina, California.
I'm William Liu. I'm from Arcadia, California.
Megan Lucas, Fort Worth, Texas.
Jessica Mangayag, Seattle, Washington.
Shadi Mashayek, Los Angeles, California. Evan Marisol, Los Angeles, California.
Nathan Monessa, Los Angeles, California.
Umi Patel, Marlborough, Massachusetts. Danya Anwar Rabadi, Columbus, Ohio.
David Ramon II, Laredo, Texas.
Sophia Rosai, El Paso, Texas.
Rico, Los Angeles, California.
Sadat Wali Sadat, Dallas, Texas.
Cyrus Sadugi, Anaheim, California. Jonas Sandu from Mission Viejo.
Saraseo, Torrance, California.
Fraisha Hatit, Austin, Texas. Rain Shagley, Los Angeles, California. Adrian Sear, Arlington, Texas.
Elizabeth Sylvester, Columbus, Ohio.
Riley Thomas, Fort Worth, Texas.
Kevin Tumanian, Glendale, California.
Megan Vo, Granite Bay, California. Sabiha Wahab from College Station, Texas.
Brian Wong, Houston, Texas.
call Dr. Nuvong to the podium to administer the podiatric medical oath.
Congratulations, class of 2025, and welcome to WesternU. Will the members of our faculty and members of our profession and the students please rise? Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to my God on my honor, to those who have taught me, and by all things that I hold sacred, that as a practitioner of podiatric medicine, I shall abide by the following precepts. I shall above all hold paramount the welfare of my patient, regardless of fee or favor. I shall neither prescribe nor give any treatment or drug which would be detrimental to his or her well-being. I shall endeavor to uphold the dignity of the professional way of life, the aims of which are to render public service. I shall cherish those who have taught me, holding high their principle and precepts. And I pledge I shall do everything I'm able to do to promote and to protect the profession of podiatric medicine and to aid my fellow practitioners. In swearing to this oath, I hereby dedicate myself in service to the health of humanity. And I hold as my goal the relief of pain and suffering. If I keep this oath, may I receive God's guidance in the practice of my art. And may I enjoy my life in the respect of all men and women. Thank you. You may be seated. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. Nuvong. The administration, faculty, and staff would like to acknowledge and thank all of our guests who are present here today. We're truly delighted that the Doctor of Podiatric Medicine class of 2025 is now a part of the CPM family. Welcome and congratulations. We ask that family members and guests please stay seated until all administration, faculty, and students have recessed out of this room for their class photo. Your loved one will return to celebrate with you momentarily. Again, we'd like to officially welcome the Doctor of Podiatric Medicine class of 2025 into the WesternU College of Podiatric Medicine family and DPM profession. Congratulations. Let's get started next week. Yay!